Welcome to Morrison Madness. I'm Don.
I'm LaShelle.
And we are Morrison Madness.
Exactly.
So a lot of times we try to plan out what we're going to talk about, and we don't script it, but we have a discussion about what we're going to talk about, and
Or we have at least a topic.
where we're going to go.
We might have points within that topic that we want to make sure we touch on.
Right.
Kind of idea. But yeah, we don't script any of this.
So LaShelle thought that we were going to talk about one thing, and I said, no, we're not going to talk about that. And
That's true.
She said, what are we going to talk about? I said, no, you're just going to have to find out what we're going to talk about.
Actually, you said just follow my lead.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Follow my lead.
That's a scary idea, just so you know.
So I think we've brought this up before that I used to own a pet store.
Yeah, I think so.
Both of us grew up with pets.
Yeah.
I grew up on a farm.
Although I didn't have a ton of pets.
No.
We had a dog that was outside. My mom is
Right.
allergic to dogs.
You had a cat at the shop.
Well, that was not by choice originally.
Doesn't matter. It still counts.
Yeah. We had a cat that
I've had a lot of pets that
was
weren't
born
by.
in the shop, and then a flood, and so it was the only surviving, and then it just kind of got adopted. I did have a gerbil, and that gerbil would like to get out of its cage and scare everybody in the house once in a while. So
We've had a lot of pets in this house that we didn't like.
we had a lot of pets in this house.
Dolan showed up with birds, remember?
Yes.
So
We had a snake.
we have been without a pet
We have
for
almost 2 years.
almost 2 years.
It's very sad. You're going to make me cry.
We have been talking about getting a pet,
We have.
and we don't agree.
We don't disagree.
Oh, we don't agree.
We don't agree on the specifics. We both agree on we want a pet.
Mm-hmm.
We both agree on which animal. I think.
Which type of animal? Yeah.
Yes.
But not specific breed.
Right.
Yeah.
Not the breed.
We want a dog,
Yes. We both want a dog.
and we both agree that we want a dog that doesn't shed.
Yes.
And LaShelle wants one the size of a hamster,
No.
and I would like one that you can, play
Tackle?
with, roughhouse a little bit,
Where in this house are you going to roughhouse with it? That's what I want to know.
wherever. The more shit that it breaks, the more shit we can get rid of.
Oh, good Lord. This is why we can't have nice things. So, there is no place in this house for a larger dog that the tail is going to knock things over.
I don't want a dog that big. We're not talking Great Dane here.
I'm not saying Great Dane. You've been talking about what was your sister's? Tifa.
A Labradoodle?
Yeah.
No, I don't want one that big.
You don't want one that big.
No.
Okay.
And her tail was like a billy club. Why she always wanted to put her butt to you and wag her butt at you was beyond me.
Speaking of, I just have to share, when I was on a walk the other day, I met a new friend, which means it's a 4-legged child. And it was the cutest dog. I think it was still a puppy, so it was only a few months old. But it would get so excited, and it would turn and look at you, but it wanted to keep its butt towards you because that's what it wanted you to scratch, right? But then as it was doing it, its tail would wag, and it would hit itself in its face with its tail, and he couldn't open his eyes to look at you because he was blinking too much from his tail hitting him it was the cutest thing ever.
That's funny.
Sorry, totally little side thing, but he was adorable. Anyway, yeah.
So we know we're going to get one. We're leaning towards... LaShelle would really like a morkie.
That's what I had before. That's what Kaylee was.
There was this other dog that she saw that I liked a lot better that is only a slightly larger than a morkie that was some type of a spaniel.
Oh, it starts with a C. Huh? I don't remember what it's called now.
I don't either. But it was a spaniel... some type of spaniel terrier mix.
Yeah.
So then it didn't shed.
Yeah.
It was slightly larger.
Well, so that's the whole thing. So it depends. Like Kaylee was a Morkie, and she was supposed to be around 10 pounds. She ended up being, like, and they say they can tell after a few weeks of them being born about how big they're going to get.
My issue is that Morkies are supposed to be 7 to 8 pounds, which is really little to me.
Right, and they said originally that they figured she'd be between 8 and 10 pounds. Well, she ended up being more like 10 to 12 pounds, and part of that's because I was too nice to her and fed her food that she shouldn't have.
She wasn't super overweight, but she was a little overweight.
She was a little overweight. But I had seen and met Morkies that were 15 and 20 pounds. So it depends upon the parents of the Morkie, if they are super small or already somewhat big. And then because you cross them, they're usually quite a bit larger than their parents. That's part of that process. Because Kaylee was a bred dog, and so then I have paperwork on who her parents were, and like one parent was 5 pounds and the other parent was 6, and she was a 10-pound dog. So, that's why they were saying it. She could be as small as 8, but they figured she would be more around a 10-pound dog when I got her. And that's about the size that I would want. I don't necessarily want one that's going to be a 5-pound dog, but I'd be okay if it's slightly smaller. I don't really want to go much smaller than like 8 pounds, probably.
See, 8 pounds is too small to me.
Yeah.
Anything smaller than Kaylee's too small. We have ruled out some dogs. I mean, obviously we've ruled out all the big dogs.
Yes.
But we've ruled out some little dogs. Like, there's just no way that we're having a Chihuahua. It's not happening.
Yeah, I didn't know this about you.
They are
like
too
chihuahuas.
skittish. They are too temperamental.
They are very skittish, and that's one of those. And that's part of it too. That's why I liked the Morkies, is because of the temperament, the playfulness of the Yorkie, but yet the chill out in your lap of the Maltese, and so that combination. And then Morkies are known for being smart.
Yes,
some breeds they pick up on stuff quicker.
And we're still doing our research. There are a lot of dogs that have specific issues.
Yes.
And we didn't know that Morkies are prone to having bladder stones.
Yes.
And so that's another concern.
Yes.
Just like dachshunds and corgis have back problems and boxers have hip problems.
Correct.
And, we want to try and...
sinus issues.
Right. We want to try and avoid that kind of thing.
Yeah. And we would be okay with having more of a mix as well.
Yeah.
Right?
As long as we knew that it was going to be... that it didn't shed.
Correct. Yes.
Because both our moms have allergy issues with dogs. And so if
Yes.
the dog sheds, then it's worse. And
Right.
on top of that, we don't have time to be sweeping up dog hair all over the place. And
No.
even though we have
Robbie
the rambunctious Roomba... Robbie's not going to want to follow the dog around picking up all its hair either.
No. But so then, the more of the mix that's in it, I think potentially the less health issues it should have. But it's not guaranteed. I mean,
Right.
You can always end up with who knows what.
Well, yeah, there's never any guarantee of that.
No. But I think out of a lot of the mixes, the Morkies didn't have a lot of the health issues. They didn't really even know necessarily about the bladder stones. And knowing that now, then I would be more conscientious of the water and the food and what have you up front.
Right.
To try to avoid that. Where I didn't know any of that, and I was giving Kaylee tap water in a place that had very high lime content.
Right.
So that probably was not very good for her at all, and probably exacerbated that issue. She may never have had problems had I not done that.
Right.
So.
And then, obviously, if we do this, we will. It kind of the same way that Robbie is a reoccurring, guest on our social media pages. Our puppy,
oh yeah,
whatever we decide to name him or her, it will be, and we'll discuss the different training methods that we use in training the dog and all of the tricks that we teach and all of that kind of stuff. Maybe we'll get them their own little high chair. And
oh, that'd be fun.
get them a mic and they can.
Oh, yeah. No, that would be fun. The hard part is as things are starting to pick up, I keep thinking, is it fair now? Like, we should have done this a year ago when we were stuck at home and we could have spent extra time training and actually being with the dog. But then at the same time, then it would be very difficult on the dog that then we're not there.
Yes.
So
talk about developing an attachment disorder.
Well, yeah, and then having that attachment issue as far as if we have to leave the house, then they're over anxious and what have you. And so sometimes the idea of the fact that we're super busy and constantly going.
And think about this. Our last episode, we talked about, that we're trying to get in shape.
Yes.
This is a reason to have to go outside, go for a little walk.
Yes.
Spend some time playing with the dog.
Yeah. It's a reason for me to actually get back down onto the floor.
And
I've noticed that over the last 2 years, I don't get down onto the floor.
A slightly larger dog
no
needs to be a little bit more outside.
Well, great. No. Nope.
I'll keep you updated on who wins this battle.
We might end up with 2 dogs in the long run.
I don't know that we can afford 2 dogs.
Oh, if neither one is super big, yes, there's the vet bills and stuff, but
I'm talking about just out of the gate. They're not cheap.
Oh, yeah, no, out of the gate, they're not cheap. I get that. But at the same time, that's one of the things that I thought about with Kaylee, especially as she was getting older and stuff that way, is what I realize dogs are pack animals and you are their pack. But then, when we were super busy and we weren't at home, would it have been nicer for her to have a companion,
if you would have got it for her when she was young, yes. But
and that's what I'm thinking.
She grew up not knowing that she was a dog, and she was anti-other dog.
She kind of was.
And she didn't care how big they were. She did not like them.
That's true. Yeah, even the super little one that puppy sat for a
We
little
tried
bit.
so many times to get her to play with other dogs. She wanted nothing to do with them.
There was only one dog in her entire life that she played with, and it was another Maltese, about her same size. That was it. It wasn't that I didn't try to incorporate other dogs, because she went through training and stuff with other dogs, and she just didn't. No, she thought she was human. And that's part of it, that's part of why I was thinking maybe it's better if you have to, not necessarily right away, but you still need to do it when they're young.
Yes.
And they can become each other's pack in that way. You don't want to wait too long, and then they're anti-dog themselves and think they're human. So, and in that case, then you can have your slightly bigger dog and I can have my little dog. But I think we should start with the little dog first.
Well, yes, you should, because you want it to grow up a little bit before you bring in the other puppy, so that it has that size equalness for that first. Because if you get them both at the same time, the other one's going to outgrow the other one so quickly.
So just so everybody's paying attention, I'm winning this argument. I'm going to get the smaller dog, aren't I?
No, I agreed with your sentiment that if we got 2 dogs, you should get the smaller one first.
Oh, and I think we should get 2 dogs.
So if anybody has any recommendations on a dog, yes, that is,
or even where to get them.
10 to 25 pound range that is a non-shedding. Sometimes they're referred to as hypoallergenic dogs. And, crossbreed dogs, great.
Yes. We're not worried about it being AKC. Is that the right thing?
Or UKC, either one.
Yeah,
we don't.
No, it doesn't. We're fine with a mix, a mutt kind of idea. It's just a matter, and we've even talked about doing adoption, right? And going through a shelter. The hardest part is that
then you don't know that it's non-shedding, that it's hypoallergenic.
And very, very few dogs in shelters are small hyperallergenic dogs. Right. They just don't. And if they are, they're usually dogs that are already fairly old and their owner has passed away or something that way. And they're pretty well set in their ways and routine. And that wouldn't be good for our lifestyle. We wouldn't do that dog any service because we wouldn't have the routine that they need. We know that. And that would actually be cruel to an older dog that needs that kind of a routine, I feel like.
That reminds me of, there was a movie that had Jack Nicholson in it. And he was very OCD. He brought his own silverware to the restaurant. Yeah. And for some reason, he had to babysit this dog.
Uh-huh. What was that movie called? It had a... Oh, shoot. It's going to bug me.
Had Helen Hunt in it.
Yeah.
And as he's walking to the restaurant, he makes a certain stride.
He won't step on the cracks in the sidewalk.
So then the dog...
starts jumping over the cracks in the sidewalk.
Right. Instead of walking along its normal thing, like it take a couple steps and then jump. Take a couple steps and jump.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yep, absolutely.
Kaylee had some of those tendencies.
She did have a little bit of OCD in certain things. Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, I am looking forward to having a puppy and the personality, seeing how the personality develops.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of tendencies it has.
Yeah.
The little idiosyncrasies that it will develop.
I think it'll be interesting because I had Kaylee, but I was single when I got Kaylee, and I had a lot of friends help raise Kaylee to begin with. You know, I had really long days when I first had Kaylee, and so I had friends that would come over and let her out during the day, and I had friends that when I came into campus, I would bring her into their apartment. She'd spend the day at somebody's house, kind of thing, if they were going to be at home that day. And so while she had training or was exposed to lots of people, she was still my dog.
Right.
She was with me. I was the primary caregiver. I became alpha, right? And then when we got married and the kids were around, she was totally fine with all of the people, you know, and she even had different relationships with different kids and things that way. But it'll be interesting to me to raise with somebody else and how I was thinking about that the other day of, you know, how will that dog decide between you and me who's alpha, right? And how will that work? Because even though I was alpha, there were times that Kaylee wouldn't listen to me but would listen to you, and then there were times where she wouldn't listen to you. She would just, like, you would say something and she would look at me, and if I didn't say the same thing, she just ignored you flat out. Because she was like, you're not in charge. Because I was the alpha to her. So it'll be interesting to see how that, like you said, the personality.
It seemed like of all of the kids, Kaylee had the biggest bond with Dolan.
To begin with, yeah, absolutely.
And then as Dolan kind of got older and was not in the house as much,
right.
I mean, you know, whenever we would be out doing a show, Grace would fall asleep waiting for us on the couch, and there's Kaylee snuggled up to Grace.
Yep. And even Kaylee would choose Grace even from laying with me, you know. And part of that, I think, is because the kids were here half the time.
Right.
They were here every other week, and I think Kaylee got in realizing that routine and realized, okay, they're not going to be here next week. Next week I can lay with mom or with dad.
Right.
And so when the kids are here, I'm going to lay with them now, kind of idea. Unless the kids asked her to come lay with them. And then,
she didn't lay with me on the couch unless I was sick.
Right. But then if Grace would call Kaylee over and say, Kaylee, come sit with me, you know, or whatever, then she would purposely go sit somewhere else.
Yes. She was a bit... I'm not going to lie.
And I don't know if I don't really understand why she did that. I don't know if it was the whole, if you really wanted me to sit with you, then you're not going to leave me alone and I just want to chill with somebody right now, or if it was, no, I'm not going to do that because you want me to. Like, I couldn't really figure out, because it wasn't, sometimes she would go over to him later. It just had to be on her time, her terms kind of thing. So I don't know if that was just more from being more used to when they were little and them wanting her attention and playing with her, and if she wasn't in that mood, she thought that's what they'd want. I don't know. But yeah, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Which part? The fighting over which dog we're going to get, or the name?
I have names in mind, actually.
Good luck with that.
Oh, wow. Evidently you have names in mind too, huh?
Absolutely.
Ooh. Huh. Okay, now I want people to guess. I want people to message on our YouTube stuff and on Facebook and Instagram. I want you to message. I'll have to make a post and be like, okay, what do you think the names of the dog will be when we get a dog? What should the names be? See if anybody gets close to anything that we're thinking. I don't know. I'm curious.
You actually thought I wouldn't have had names?
Well, I didn't think that you were even interested in getting a dog until, what, a week or so ago? And you were finally like, yeah, we probably should think about getting one.
Honey, I knew that you needed enough time to have passed.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. I was just waiting till I felt like you were ready. I had been ready for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So we'll keep you posted on how the puppy hunting goes, and if we get one, the puppy training, puppy naming, all of that kind of stuff. I will say one thing that we learned from having Kaylee and with Kaylee having health issues is that we will definitely be getting
the
puppy
pet
insurance.
Yeah. And then we talked about that and then what would we do differently. Yeah. I at first, when I looked at the pet insurance, the cost of the pet insurance and then the cost of vet bills and things that way, I was like, it didn't make sense at the time because I would save that money up. But I had no idea that later on, when they have the health issues, the surgeries can go into the tens of thousands pretty quickly.
Well, and we had there were surgeries that we could have had for Kaylee that we just opted not to. We made lifestyle changes for Kaylee,
right?
You know, to keep her from jumping up and down like off of the bed. You know, we got the steps and stuff because she started to have issues with her knees. Yeah. Those surgeries were really expensive, so we adjusted things. We got her supplements to help with her her knees and stuff. So
yeah.
All right. Well, again, check us out on all of the social platforms, and you know, we'll keep you posted on all of that. Yeah. As well as, you know, how the working out goes and whether or not the dog is helpful with the working out. All of
it might not be if it's a cuddler. I might be on the couch more.
We definitely will need to get the dog sooner rather than later, though, because we don't want to be trying to train a puppy heading into winter.
No, right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And again, please, if you have recommendations on a smaller hypoallergenic dog, we would love to hear your suggestions.
Absolutely. Right. Again, check us out on Morrison Madness on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think we're Madness Morrison. And share our information, comment, like. It helps us out, gets other people to see us. We make more friends that way. We need more friends.
That's right. Otherwise, it's just us and the video guy.
It is, yes. And he's probably tired of us by now. He needs more friends too, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. All right. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Take care.